What's up? Welcome in a new look Bears team, at least a little bit, as we roll into week 9 with the Dolphins coming to town. Been a while since the Bears had a Sunday noon game, and we are missing Adam Jahns today. Kevin Fishbain is here filling in. What's up, Kev?
What's up, Hoge? I think it's Sunday noon games the rest of the way, too.
Yeah.
Every game here on out, which is
one exception. Christmas Eve is a Saturday.
Correct. And I know our listeners love to know what the writers think, and writers love noon games.
I love a good noon game. Yeah. No complaints here. Getting a nice little rhythm here the rest of the season. We don't have a bye week for another month. A little over a month.
I heard coming into the show, this is your 71st podcast of the week.
Yeah, I think it is. The truth is I was actually laying in bed last night trying to count it up, and I couldn't. So I don't know if that's a good thing.
Could you have imagined if Poles made another trade at because the Claypool trade happened around noon or 12:30. Could you imagine if he made another one at 2:55?
Well, that's why we just went live all the way to the deadline.
Right.
So that counted as 2.5 podcasts because we were on for almost 2.5 hours. But yeah, that's why we were we're going. I think we went all the way to 3:20 just to make sure another one didn't sneak in. And then I was like, I got to go.
Okay, if we get to Hallis Hall today and Luke Getsy comes out and says Treston Ebner is now the starting running back the rest of the season, you'd have to have another emergency podcast.
No, I'm good. At that point, I'm shutting it down.
That's it.
This is the last show I do until Sunday at 11 o'clock on the CHGO pregame show. Just being honest.
All right.
I don't care who gets hurt, what happens. They could fire the head coach, and I'm out.
As John Fox would say, your hay is in the barn.
Just don't flop it out there and expect to perform like that.
He always said something. What's going on, everyone? Jahns is out today, but we do have, I have to say, he did a lot of work on this show. I mean, I have the entire I feel like his brain is written out in a Google Doc here. So we still have our normal 3 big questions, over-unders that we're going to get to, predictions. I even have Jahns' prediction on the game. And but before we get there, we are going to talk to Mark Kaboly from Pittsburgh. He covers the Steelers for The Athletic because, we got to learn more about Chase Claypool. Jahns, you were there yesterday at Hallis Hall. I just called you Jahns. You're Kevin. So it'd be the first of 3 times that probably happens on the show today. I apologize. You were there though. What did you learn from not only, well, let's start with Claypool. What struck you about Chase Claypool on his first day at Hallis Hall?
Yeah, Hoge, I was thinking about this last night because, we've covered guys that come to the Bears via trade, and there's just this glow, right? Because we could sit here and be cynical about where the Bears are at. I mean, you don't even need to be cynical. You could be realistic about where the Bears are. But when you are acquired via trade, if you're Chase Claypool, you see your numbers are down. You've been vocal about the offense. You don't love your new role. And here comes this team that thinks you're good enough to give up a second-round pick. And you're coming to this offense where you are immediately, if not the best, the second best receiver on the team, with a young quarterback who wants to throw it deep. And so all of that you could sense in Claypool. You could sense that excitement, which is important context. Because, again, you could sit here and be like, he hasn't had a good year, and the Bears aren't a very good team right now. But for him, fresh start, which is a lot of the guys that Ryan Poles has brought in. So you sense that. You sense the confidence. You sense the excitement. And now we wait to see if that could all live up to it.
Was it awkward at all? Because you get this guy coming in all excited. The Bears have been pushing this stuff on social media like they would for a free agent acquisition in March. And meanwhile, they also traded away their best player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the locker room.
And he's in his locker, isn't he? Didn't Chase take Roquan's locker?
Yes, it looks that way.
I mean, If I'm some of these guys on defense, I don't know. It's a business, but
you had when we went to the locker room, you had Cole Kmet at his locker talking about, obviously very excited that his former teammates here. Across the locker room, you had Justin Jones, who called being named captain bittersweet. This is not the way he wanted to be named captain. Then you had the other corner of the locker room, you had Eddie Jackson, who is now sat here and left. Now, he talked to us in the summer about watching all of his guys leave. And now he sees another one in Roquan leave. And he kind of went deep about what the past week's been like for him. So it was a kind of strange dynamic of all these different things where, and that's what Poles created, right? Because he kind of went from seller on Monday to buyer on Tuesday. So you have this give and take of, bummed about Roquan leaving, but kind of excited that you have this new playmaker on the team.
All right, well, let's learn more about Chase Claypool. Let's bring in Mark. All right, well, Mark Kaboly covers the Steelers. He knows Chase Claypool well, the Bears' new wide receiver. What we're trying to figure out, Mark, here in Chicago, I guess, is why the Steelers were so willing to get rid of him, because there's a lot of excitement about Chase Claypool here. He's a guy that I think a lot of Bears fans wanted back in the draft a couple of years ago, and now he is a Bear. But what went wrong in Pittsburgh?
Oh, that's a good question. I think a lot of it had to do with, the Steelers drafted George Pickens this year, and George Pickens is a star in the making, and he hasn't been able to get on the field or get enough targets right now because, there's only so many balls to go around when you got Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris. So that coupled with, they're 2-6. They only had 6 picks in this upcoming draft. A new front office, new GM, new assistant GM. And to be honest with you, they weren't going to move him unless they got a deal, like they got. I mean, we're talking about what? Top 40, top 45, top 50 pick here for Chase Claypool. That's where they picked him at. They probably had no intentions on re-signing him after next year because they just signed Deontay Johnson, $19 million over, I believe his contract runs through 2024. You got George Pickens, and they like some of the younger guys they have in the slot, like Steven Sims. So a lot of it had to do with just accruing draft capital, knowing that they weren't going to re-sign him after next year, combined with, the pick they got. So you throw that all together, and all of a sudden Chase Claypool's in Chicago.
Mark, Claypool, he had a pretty good rookie year a couple years ago with Roethlisberger, 9 touchdowns. His numbers have gone down steadily since then. Obviously took a big drop off this season for a lot of reasons. When the Bears make that move, they're convincing themselves they're going to get the best Claypool. Seeing him over these 3 years, does that Claypool exist? Is there, and can they get a guy like that who can continue to ascend? Because that's certainly what they're hoping for.
He has potential, but if we're talking about ascending, if you're looking over the past 3 years, it started here with the 9 touchdown receptions, and I think he had 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns that year. That was his worst enemy right there. He had so much success early on, and he just hasn't gotten better over the past 2 years. I mean, some of that could be the quarterback. Some of it could be the coordinator. He switched positions this year, and you would think that he would be a better slot guy because of his ability to block, his ability. He's a big guy, as you saw yesterday. I mean, he's pretty much of a monster, but he just hasn't gotten better. And I think early in his career, there was a maturity issue. There was no doubt about that. His rookie year and even last year, I'm sure you guys have seen them or remember the Minnesota game, the point to the first down as the clock's running out. I mean, he took a lot of crap here for that. But when you're in that position, I think you got to take that chance because he can be very good. I mean, he got a lot of shortcomings, man. I mean, sometimes he likes to block. Sometimes he's a good blocker. He doesn't make a lot of combat catches, as Tomlin would say. He can stretch the field, but He always falls down instead of running through the ball. So you're looking at a 30-yard completion rather than a 60-yard completion. And there's just some issues there that need to be worked out. So he has the talent, but I just don't like guys that haven't gotten better since their rookie year. The numbers are very similar year one to year two. If you look at it, other than the touchdowns,
Right.
he just didn't get any better. And I think that was part of the issue. And I don't think moving forward they thought he was going to be any better. You remember him coming out of college. I mean, there was some talk of him being a stand-up tight end type of guy in that slot. And you would think he would have fit in that position a little bit more this year, but he did not. And it just didn't really work out for him. Like I said, he has the potential, but he has to be surrounded by the right people. I think you guys have the right offensive coordinator. I'm a big Luke Getsy fan, so maybe you can turn him around and keep him on the straight and narrow, and he'll be able to produce.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little fixated on the quarterback and kind of offensive side of this, because anybody who watched Ben Roethlisberger last, towards the end of his career knows that he was falling off too. And the Steelers have, as you alluded to, some of the offensive coordinator stuff, just the offensive stuff in general. I mean, you could argue that it hasn't ascended either. And I think there's a hope here, especially in the last few weeks, that Justin Fields might be finally taking off, and this offense here in Chicago might be taking off. And one of Fields' strengths is throwing the deep ball, and he really hasn't had anyone here who could actually catch those except for Darnell Mooney, but he's getting like triple cover on every play because there's no other wide receiver. So even if Chase Claypool is, not ascending, he's still clearly the Bears' second best wide receiver as he walks into the room yesterday. Mark, does that give you any hope that maybe he can at least return to what he was his first couple seasons, even if the touchdowns aren't necessarily there?
I mean, it's potential. I mean, he likes to go ball. He wants to go deep. But, he dropped as many as he's caught over the past 3 years as well. So, I mean, if he wants to point blamer around, he should point a little bit at himself, because he's had some opportunities to make big plays over the past year and a half and haven't been able to do that. Where I think Chase maybe, and I don't want this to come off badly, but it's going to, thinks he's better than he might be right now. I mean, so I think him being second, third fiddle in Pittsburgh might not have been the best for his psyche. If he goes to Chicago and views himself as the number one, maybe that helps him out a little bit there. But like I said, the talent's off the board. I mean, he you know what? He probably told you guys he wasn't disgruntled, didn't want out of Pittsburgh, but he was chirping a lot over the past couple weeks of just, I don't get the ball deep enough, our offense isn't good enough. And you heard a lot of people saying we're not on the same page. And a lot of that, when you break it down on the offensive side of the ball, it's only one of two people these guys are talking about. And it would have been Deontay or Chase. So I'm thinking Chase might have been a little bit unhappy here. However, I was absolutely guaranteed that they did not move him because he was trouble or, a cancer in the locker room. I don't think anybody viewed him as that. He might have been a tough guy to get along with. I'll tell you a story. Last year, 2 years, last year, I believe, there was a big fight in practice, and Minkah Fitzpatrick absolutely pummeled him, was just pounding him on the ground, Chase Claypool. And what came to mind there as I was watching that is no offensive player came to his aid. They just sat there and watched. I'm thinking, oh, geez, am I reading too much into this or not? But, that's just a little backstory right there. But like I keep saying, he has the talent. It's a matter of getting it out of him. And I think he needed a fresh start. And, he went to college up the road, so it's probably a good fit for him right now. But I wouldn't expect him to come in and, put up those rookie numbers. I mean, I think that was just circumstances right there.
Hey, Mark, while we got you, how's the Bears all-time career passer rating leader, Mitch Trubisky?
He's a heck of an interview, man. He does more interviews than anybody else. He's a little chippy, which is surprising because, I mean, even the other day he was talking about how the coaches have to call better plays and they have to hold people accountable. I'm thinking, my goodness, you got the captain backup quarterback chirping about the coaching staff right now. But, hey, he's been nothing but a professional. He was put in a bad situation. He was a guy that was deemed a starter from day one, and he lasted about what are we talking about? 2, 4, 12, 16 quarters before he got benched. And if Deontay Johnson doesn't drop a ball in the end zone against the Jets, he might still be the starter right now. But I don't know. He's a nice guy, and he's trying to help out as much as he can. But there's some shortcomings there, too, as you guys probably know.
Mark, last thing for you. The Bears play the Dolphins this week. You just saw the Dolphins a couple weeks ago. Trying to figure out how good they actually are. What did you think about the Dolphins when you saw them?
And they were spectacular the first 2 or 3 drives. Then after that, there were some adjustments, and they weren't able to move the ball much at all. They're just, I mean, they're just fast. I mean, with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they just create so much issues for the Steelers secondary that the secondary wasn't, is not very good as it is, and putting that much pressure on them. However, you're looking at a 2-6 Steelers team that had the ball probably inside the 40 with a minute left and had a chance to win that game. So they're not unbeatable. They're a tough team, let me tell you that, especially offensively, man. And then now they've got, Chubb now, and I don't know if Chubb will play this week. I assume he will. And but they added some running back depth as well. I love that coach, man. Mike McDaniel, man. I always say this on Twitter. I'd like to go have a beer with that guy. Maybe not a beer, maybe an iced tea or something, but that guy is an intriguing guy that's really getting a lot out of him. So it's not a good game. I mean, it's not an easy game, as I said. And so speaking of the Bears, like I keep saying, huge Luke Getsy fan. I think you guys have got an absolute steal right there. And I'd be surprised if that guy's not a head coach here within a couple years. That's how sharp I think that guy is. So.
Well, don't say that, Mark. People don't want to lose him already.
Yeah, I mean, he's a sharp guy. I've known him since probably 20 years now. And because he's from Pittsburgh and down the road, actually. And heck of a guy, heck of a smart guy, worked his butt off to get where he was. And if Aaron Rodgers likes you, probably saying a lot right there. So I think you guys got a really good coach in Getsy.
Mark, thanks so much, man. We appreciate you jumping on with us today.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Thanks,
All
Mark.
Right. Hey, if you've been in the grocery store lately, you may have noticed that there's these strange tall boys in the bottled water section. And you might be like, well, what's that beer doing here? Well, it's not beer. It's actually mountain spring water from the Alps. It's called Liquid Death. And yeah, it looks like it's in this crazy can, almost looks like an energy drink. But what's cool about Liquid Death is it's really good water and it's in a can where it's colder. And the whole point of it is because it's a better recyclable container for water. Because what people don't really know is that plastic isn't actually that recyclable anymore. Most plastic you throw in a recycling bin actually just gets sent to the landfill because it's not profitable to recycle. So what's cool about Liquid Death, it's called that because it'll brutally murder your thirst. And the infinitely recyclable tallboy cans are helping to bring death to plastic. That's why it's called Liquid Death. Also, this company donates 10% of their profits from every can sold to help kill plastic pollution. So go pick up some Liquid Death and understand you are getting that ice cold water feel from aluminum while also helping the environment. Go get Liquid Death at your local 7-Eleven, Jewel, Target, or CVS, or find a Liquid Death retailer near you with their store locator tool at liquiddeath.com/Adam. That's liquiddeath.com/Adam.
Money can't buy happiness, but not worrying about your money comes close. That's where Chime can help you smile more. They were just named the #1 most loved banking app, with a payday up to 2 days early and fee-free overdrafts up to $200. They offer financial peace of mind in your wallet. All of this with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. See for yourself why Chime is so loved at chime.com/Adams. That's chime.com/Adams. One more time, that's chime.com/Adams. Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank North America. Members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payers. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. See chime.com/SpotMe. Chime was the 2021 #1 most downloaded banking app in the U.S. according to Apptopia.
Hey, life can be scary when you spend the whole weekend watching football, watching your fantasy football team lose, all those games you consume on Sunday, and then you realize, oh crap, I gotta go to work tomorrow. We all deal with the Sunday scaries, right? Sunday scaries are those, oh shit, stressful, nervous, can't sleep feelings that hit you on Sunday evenings when you think about work or school tomorrow, or just life in general. But you don't need to feel that same pit in your stomach, because Sunday Scary CBD gummies were made to defeat the crap that life throws at us. These are the perfect CBD gummies for professionals on the grind, super moms, students, party animals, and everybody in between. Whether you struggle to relax or might be a horrible sleeper, Sunday Scaries can help you out. We all have the right to live scare-free. So whether you need to take the edge off, calm your racing mind, sleep better, or just chill, take 2 CBD gummies every day to keep the scaries away, and we can save you with our 25% discount. Visit sundayscaries.com. Use my promo code THEATHLETIC for your discount. That's promo code THEATHLETIC, all one word, for 25% off at sundayscaries.com. Kev, part of that in there reminded me of the scene in Draft Day when the security guy's like, nobody came to his birthday party. When Mark was telling you never see draft. Oh my God! No, we're stopping this podcast right now. You have to go watch Draft Day. We'll resume the pod when you're done with the movie. Don't tell Cap. Yeah, no. Wasn't that Cap's favorite movie? He's over the top. Cap over the top? Never. He's like all in on like, yeah, it's like the greatest movie of all time. I actually like it. I'm a Draft Day supporter. Okay, I'm sure I would like it. I just never just haven't. I do usually watch it like draft week every year. Just like when all the prep's in, you just like want to relax for a little bit. Anyway, there's a scene in there, I'm sure our listeners know, but like where they're talking, you know how they like break down, they investigate every little tiny thing about every single player. So the quarterback who's supposed to go #1 overall, and he went to Wisconsin. So already the story's fake and not real, as you know. The security guy's telling this whole story. It was like, nobody came to his birthday party. Like, it's a huge red flag. And that's what I was thinking of as Mark was telling the story of Minka Fitzpatrick pummeling Chase Claypool in practice, and none of the offensive guys coming to his defense. It actually is kind of interesting. So we're going to jump into our Dolphins preview here, but Kev, my first reaction is just like, good wide receivers are always a little rough around the edges, right? Like, yeah, they want the ball. They want that. I don't view it as a criticism that Chase Claypool wants the ball more. He wants more go balls, as he said to the media a couple weeks ago in Pittsburgh. Good. I want my wide receivers to want that. By the way, I have a go ball fun fact for you. Ooh. Okay. This is in my all 22 that's up today at The Athletic. Chase Claypool this season has run 86 go routes according to Pro Football Focus. The Bears' leader in go routes is Darnell Mooney with 55. Wow. So Chase Claypool wanted more go balls, and he was still running at a pretty high, much higher rate than the Bears. How many were actually getting thrown to him, though? Do you know that? That I don't know. Okay. And that's probably part of his problem. But I think it had been like each year of his career, the go route has been the route that he's run the most of any on the tree. Yeah, that's what he does, right? Yeah. You know, and that's why I think
I was saying, sorry, did you get like a little bit of an Alshon if you watched just some of his highlights? Like just his
Mhm.
highlights. I got a little bit of Alshon from watching him, kind of the way he works the sideline.
Also a second round pick, Alshon Jeffrey. I think Claypool's faster though.
Yes.
Is one difference. But yeah, I think it's a good fit for what Justin Fields can do, what he wants to do more, and what the quarterbacks right now in Pittsburgh can't do. And what Ben Roethlisberger was struggling to do at the end of his career when he had to throw every inch of his massive body into every throw to get it to go more than 20 yards. So I think this is a classic case of change of scenery and fit, potentially the right timing for the quarterback too. I'm optimistic about it, despite everything Mark Kaboly just said.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those classic. That's why he was traded, right? He does not fit with what the Steelers want to do. He fits what the Bears are trying to do.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's important before everyone jumps on Mark, what Mark had to say. Mark's been there. He knows the story. He knows that stuff. So I think it's, and I think it's important to also note in what he said is like he didn't feel like the Steelers were trying to get rid of him because they couldn't handle him and he was some kind of malcontent. I just think he's a wide receiver who wants the ball.
Oh, like right before the week before trade deadline, Jahns and I were soliciting trade proposals from fans and readers, and there was a Claypool one, and I went to Mark's stories, and he wrote a story about how he didn't think they were going to move Claypool. So, yeah, I mean that's just like, and he was very upfront too that he believes Claypool's got all the talents in the world.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's jump into this game. It's Bears and Dolphins. Sunday. It looks like it's gonna be a nice day.
I mean, this weather's been.
I'm not complaining about it. I'll take it.
No.
We didn't. It was winter in October, and apparently it's fall in November. Okay.
I saw rain on Saturday.
Yeah.
Which is interesting for some football games in the vicinity.
Yes. There's some game planning going on around the potential weather, which is particularly problematic for kickers. As you might know, when there's possible 40-mile-an-hour gusts and rain in the forecast.
Special teams coaches need to be meteorologists. Meteorologists.
There was a moment yesterday when I was like, who do I need to start texting? Do I need to call Paul Conrad? You know, a Demetrius Ivory, some of my old guys over at WGN TV to get the inside scoop on what's going to actually happen Saturday. But Sunday looks great.
Sunday looks great.
Which is also, Kev, if I can quickly do a plug.
Yeah.
Great tailgating weather.
Yes. Plug away.
We got a big all CHGO tailgate, CHGO Bears tailgate on the corner of Roosevelt and Michigan Sunday morning. Starts at 8 o'clock. The tickets are at allchgo.com. They're $46. It's a great deal. All you can eat. We got meat from Greenridge Farms. That's going to be grilled up. All you can eat and drink from 8 to noon. So if you're going to the game and come down there, hang out, walk right over. We also have a parking option if you need a parking spot. And if you just want to hang out at some of the great places down in the South Loop, you can come tailgate, then go watch the game, at a nice establishment nearby. So plenty of options for you, whether you're taking public transportation or driving. And want to also shout out the fact that I think Jahns is coming. You're welcome to come too, Kevin, if you want.
So I was thinking about it, and I am a Chuggo subscriber. CHGO subscriber and supporter. I don't know if I could face Herb Lawrence.
Ooh.
Because I love Herb. And Herb's Illini are having, the year of their lives, the best season since the Rose Bowl year.
Yeah.
And my Wildcats, not Herb's favorite team, not having a good year. And I just think it'd be tough for me to, it would just be, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for Illini. It's a great story. They've been really fun to watch.
Well,
but I think that'd be tough.
Herb's a nice enough guy. I think you can.
He is.
He's not going to rub it in your face either.
No, I know.
We're also looking forward to seeing Antonio Contreras, who took home the ticket and tailgate package that we auctioned off to benefit 22Q Family Foundation. So he'll be there, and I know we have some others that just straight up donated, even though they didn't get the ticket. So thank you very much. I mean, it's awesome that we're already above $1,000 early on in 22Q Awareness Month. For more information, go to 22QFamilyFoundation.org, and we'll continue to tell you more about that over the course of the month. Anything you order from Obvious Shirts in the Hoge and Jahns collection, a portion of that will go to 22Q as well. All right, short on time a little bit today, so we're going to jump right into this game. These are John's brought up the three big questions still, even though he's not here. This is Kevin does a good job. This is where you got to jump in and do your three big questions.
Three big questions. Before we get to those, we do have to note the last time the Dolphins played a regular season game in Chicago was, I believe, the Brandon Marshall yelling at Robbie Gould incident from 2014. Yeah. I think did you have that as one of your like big losses when you guys were doing like worst Bears losses? I feel like
it was
that up.
Maybe an honorable mention.
It was a weird game because it wasn't like a bad game relative to what we saw from that team that season.
But it was a game the Dolphins sucked. It was a game they were definitely supposed to win.
Yeah, and it just led to what happened in the locker room. I think that the Dolphins went to Soldier Field that preseason, and remember it was the next year because I think it was McPhee was on the team. Was it McPhee or? Anyways, there was a year the Dolphins came to Soldier Field for a preseason game and marched downfield in like 5 plays, scored a touchdown, and we were like, oh,
well, they might do that this week. We'll start with our first question. If you're Luke Getsy, how much do you play Chase Claypool?
I think we kind of just talked about the go ball part, right? Like, isn't there a fact that with receivers, you could just say, hey, go. Literally, go.
Sure.
And maybe Fields will throw the ball, maybe he won't. We could be doing a run play. We could be doing I like to think that we always talk about college wide receivers being able to adjust better to the pro game than other positions because you have that option with guys to just tell them, hey, we only need you to do these 2 things, 3 things. So I think you could get him, I don't know, 20 plus snaps. And certainly you could just as a decoy, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And hopefully it just helps open up the offense. Maybe get Darnell Mooney going a little bit more. I was in the same range. I was thinking like 15 to 20 snaps. The answer is how much he can handle in a short week, right? So, but I do think there's a level of, look at this, compare this to Bradley Chubb getting acquired by the Dolphins and how much he's going to play in this game. Well, that's closer to what, I'm not saying he's going to do what Khalil Mack did against the Packers in that first game right after getting traded to Chicago because that was an insane performance. But it's kind of the same concept of just go get the quarterback, right? You can go run a go route.
It's equivalent of running a go route every single snap.
Exactly. So it's easier for the defensive end to do that than a wide receiver who has to know a complex route tree and within the offense. But, if they're not going to play Claypool in the slot, I do think this is an easier task for him to just go out there and say, hey, run a 7, run a go, run a post, just, do these simple things. You almost can even give him his own little checks within the plays so he doesn't have to know what the actual plays are. Just, tag something at the end of the play so that Chase Claypool knows what he's running, and then hopefully it gets he gets open or somebody else gets open. All right, question number 2. How concerned are you about another defensive letdown?
I guess to me, it's how worried are you about it's Raheem Mostert, right?
Yeah.
And did they just get Jeff Wilson?
They traded for Jeff Wilson Jr.
They just have like the entire 49ers backfield.
Yeah. Well, it's Mike McDaniel,
Yeah, it makes sense. And Mostert might have a good game. Former Bear, correct? For like a spell.
For a couple days, yeah.
Yeah.
Long-time Bear.
So I looked this up. The Bears are actually 6th in the NFL in terms of fewest 20-plus pass plays allowed.
Yeah.
And if you think about what's the strength on defense, it's the secondary. I worry about the run game, but I don't think it's as good as what they saw last week in Dallas.
Yeah, the Dolphins aren't good at it. Mike McDaniel wants to run the ball, but they haven't been able to really.
Yeah, but here's what I worry about is the dam going to break in like the third quarter if the offense is just teetering and maybe Dolphins have like a 7 to 10 point lead. Is there just like that one play where Jaquan Brisker's eyes get stuck somewhere and and Tyreek Hill's gone, or Jalen Waddle just beats Kindle. Like I just feel like you're gonna get that kind of like late touchdown that's like a big score that just breaks the game open. So I think the Bears are equipped because they have a good secondary, but here's the problem with that. As I'm saying it, they don't have a pass rush.
They don't have a pass rush, and they don't have. They have a really good corner in Jalen Johnson. I still get a little nervous about Kindle Vildor.
Yes,
and
he didn't do anything to help that last week.
So is Jalen gonna Jalen gonna go with Waddle the whole game, and then you're hoping Kyler Gordon can cover Tyreek Hill with some help over the top? Like it's still a tough matchup, even though I do think the Dolphins' strength matches up with the Bears' strength defensively, and the Dolphins' weakness matches up with the Bears' weakness stopping the run defensively. So there is like maybe some optimism there. But I think you said it well in terms of like, when does the dam break? Does it break? I'm also, if there's an emotional component to not having Roquan Smith out there, Eddie Jackson to me would be one of those guys, right, that would maybe be affected by that. Regardless, one of the things that worries me, Kev, is the RPO game. Tua is really good at it. Tua is really good at it. The Bears have had bad eyes this whole season. I just think eventually the yards are going to start to pile up a little bit. So, yeah, I am concerned about another defensive letdown game. All right, number 3. Has Tua become a good example of maintaining patience with a quarterback throughout an organization? Also, is he proof that Getsy and McDaniel are from the right system?
Look at Jahns writing some good questions. It's interesting because I do think that, and I was going to write this to lead into my mailbag, which will be up tomorrow at The Athletic, Friday. Are the 2022 Dolphins like the ceiling for the 2023 Bears?
Interesting.
Think about it. Tua's third-year quarterback who was unproven heading into this season. Like you were not sitting there being like, this is their guy. They go out and they say, we don't know if he's our guy, but we're going to surround him with talent. You get Tyreek Hill. They went out and got the tackle, right? Who am I?
Yeah.
Good left tackle.
Yeah. It's like
Look
right
at
on the
us.
tip. Oh my God.
NFL guys. We know our sports.
No, everybody wanted the Bears to get from the Saints.
Yeah, that guy. Teron Armstead.
There it is. Damn it. I was like, I wanted to call him Trent Armstrong. I turned into Colin Coward for a second.
Oh no. Yikes. And then you go out and get Bradley Chubb at the deadline because you really got and Jeff Wilson. So because we know the Bears are going to be like next year's Bears are going to be like the 2022 Dolphins, where they're going to have the cap space and the draft picks to be aggressive. And they're going to have a third-year quarterback who I don't think Justin Fields might have the greatest final 9 games ever, but I still think we're going to go into next year with a couple question marks. That's why I'm rambling a bit that I do think the Bears could look at what the Dolphins are and say, hey, that could be us next year with the right moves and a quarterback who really excels with better pieces around him.
Yeah. Tua's good, man. He doesn't quite have the same raw talent that Justin Fields does, but he's always been good at making reads, understanding what defenses are doing. I'm telling you, the RPO game really stands out, especially when you see the weapons that they have. I think he's also a good example of getting better when he has better players around him, right? So that is something the Bears should consider, as they did add Chase Claypool. But Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, good players. All right. Over-unders for this game, courtesy of Adam Jahns. We'll do these quickly. Catches for Chase Claypool in his debut. He sets it at 4.5.
Oh, under. What is Jahns doing?
I don't know. I'm taking the under on that one too. Watch it fly over somehow. Yeah. Now, if you're going to say over-under on Darnell Mooney with Chase Claypool on the field, I might take the over on 4.5. Yeah. Tackles for Roquan Smith in his Ravens debut.
Whoa.
That was a curveball. 8.5 tackles for Roquan Smith.
I'll go under.
I think so too. How much is he? That's tough for him to
step.
By the way, how much is he really going to be able to play if he's right there in the middle of the defense? I guess they're just coverages and.
Justin Jones yesterday kind of let slip that he was like, Baltimore runs a 3-4, right? We're like, yeah. He goes, you're going to see the best Roquan.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Mark Kaboly followed up. He's like, so you think that you think Roquan's better suited in a 3-4? And Jones, you can see the wheels turning, like what he had kind of said. He's like, well, no. And yeah.
It's okay to say yes.
Yeah. I think he might have. I had to leave the scrum, so
it's okay.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think, look, I think we all saw that Roquan was a good player in this defense, but he was probably better in 3-4, which is why Baltimore traded for him.
All right, last over-under. Again, this was written by Adam Jahns, not me. How many times does Adam Hoge profess his love for Mike McDaniel in all of his podcast shows? Any compliment counts. He sets it at 5.5. I will say this. I believe that this podcast is the first time I've even said the name Mike McDaniel this week. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that there was a trade deadline and trades, and we haven't really been talking about the Dolphins too much until today. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is a tough one because you can manipulate it.
Yeah, it does kind of give me control.
Yeah. So, but there could be. I mean, if the Dolphins score 40 points, you could be sitting there being like, Mike McDaniel did this, Mike McDaniel did that.
And I am doing 3 shows on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be like over and under about the tailgate.
Oh.
Yeah, he should have done that.
Maybe. I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
Bold predictions.
I'm going to go with Chase Claypool scores a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
So take that and think about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I will take that, Matt Nagy. Who, by the way, the Chiefs just signed Daz Newsome in the practice squad. Shout out Herb Howard.
Yeah,
Herb's guy. My bold prediction is Al-Qadir Muhammad's going to get a sack.
Oh my God, that is bold.
Does he have? I don't think he has one this year. No, he has one. He's one sack.
Probably not.
Yeah.
He's going to get a sack.
All right. Prediction time. Adam Jahns is going Dolphins 31, Bears 27. I've been struggling with this because I don't necessarily think the Dolphins are that great. You know, they beat up on the Steelers and Lions the last couple of weeks. I think the Bears offense is going to keep moving in the right direction in this game. It's really hard to trust the defense right now. Losing Roquan Smith, the weapons that the Dolphins have, Tua is playing well in the RPO game, which it's just not good for like keeping your eyes in the right place. So I think Johns' prediction is pretty spot on here. I think the Bears score points. But I'm going to do it. I think this is a Justin Fields like coming out party.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bears also have a big edge in special teams if you look at DVOA.
They do. And the Ohio State Buckeyes are in town this weekend, so that could give Justin Fields some good vibes.
Last time they were in town, I saw Justin Fields do a lot of special things at Ryan Field.
Yeah. Now, if Ohio State loses on Saturday as a 38.5 point favorite, maybe that messes with Justin Fields' vibes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say Bears 33, Dolphins 31.
So I said this to somebody yesterday. Might have been Jahns. This is the most relevant the Bears have been in the entire calendar year of 2022 in the NFL. If they and I think the most relevant they will be in the large grand scheme of the NFL. Like nobody outside Chicago, I just think the Bears are one of the more irrelevant teams in football. Doesn't mean one of the worst teams. I just think that they're just not. I don't think there's a whole lot of interest.
I said this on the show yesterday. I think they're fun now. I think they're fun.
Agree. And I think people are figuring that out. So the reason I bring that up is if they win, that relevance can continue. I think the dam breaks, as I mentioned earlier. I think the Bears keep it close, but we got a front door touchdown late from Miami. Let's think of a funky score to honor our good friend Jeff Dickerson. I'll go Miami 32, Bears 22.
Oh, a 10-point win. Okay, the Bears don't even cover.
Do not cover. Front door cover for the Dolphins.
I will say this, like, I'm not going to sit here and be confident about the Bears covering in this game, even though I just picked them to win. It's not one of those. It wasn't like 2 weeks ago against the Patriots where I was like, yeah, they're covering.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'll let you go, Kevin, because I know you have to, and then I'm going to finish up solo here as we go through some of the other games that we normally do. Jahns did not leave me his picks for these games that he put down, but that's okay. We'll survive.
Thanks for having me, and go Carmel.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Kevin Fishbain. Follow him on Twitter at KFishbain. Read him on The Athletic. theathletic.com/Hoge and Jahns is where you go to subscribe. All right, I'm going to fly through these 5 other games on the slate this week. Fox, noon, Packers at Lions. The Lions are a 3.5-point home underdog for everything going wrong for the Packers. The Lions just really aren't a good football team. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to take the Lions with the 3.5, but if I had to pick the actual winner, I do think the Packers win the game. Until proven otherwise, I still think Aaron Rodgers takes care of business in the NFC North against teams that are not the Vikings. But, man, it's kind of gotten a mess there in Green Bay. And the Lions are sort of desperate here. They're going to have to pull something out here sooner or later. So with 3.5, I'm going to take the Lions.
And that's the facts. That's 100% truth.
All right. CBS noon. Bills at Jets. How about this line? Jets having a good season. Vegas doesn't care. Bills on the road. Bills are 12.5-point favorite in this one. This is kind of a stay away game for me. The Jets had a huge game last week at home against the Patriots and couldn't win in a game they probably should have. 12.5 points is a lot. The Bills were big favorites against the Packers on Sunday night, and Packers kind of backdoor covered that one. I think I'm going to do the same thing here. I think the Jets cover, but Bills definitely keep on rolling.
Adam Jahns, go ahead.
Jahns is not here. Fox, noon. Vikings at Commanders. Look, I've been big on the Vikings this season. I picked them to win the NFC North. Commanders are a 3.5-point home underdog. I think it's just one of those games where Washington's kind of a scary home underdog in this game. I wouldn't even be surprised if they win outright. So I am going to go with Washington at home. As much as I like the Vikings, I like what the Vikings have done. It wouldn't surprise me if the Vikings still pull out the win, but I am going to go with Washington.
Y'all stay corona free, all right? And God bless.
Thanks, Purnell. CBS 325. Rams at Bucks. There's only 2 games in the late afternoon window. I think the NFL thought this Rams Bucks game was going to be just a massive game before the season began. Super Bowl champions going up against Tom Brady. Both teams 3-5. Both teams aren't very good. CBS asked for this game, got almost an exclusive window because there's only 2 games, and then it turns out that I think what's the other game? I think it's Cardinals Seahawks, and that's probably the better of these 2 games. Bucks 3-point favorites at home. Guys, the Rams are really struggling right now. Stafford's not the same guy he was last year. They can't run the ball. Cam Akers may or may not play after he's not happy. I'm going to go with the Bucs at home, desperate for a win. So I will take the Bucs with the 3 points.
If we win this game tonight, Adam Hoge will be rhetorically dancing with his verbiage. 2 outs. Here's Luke Boyd pinch batting.
All right, Sunday night, NBC, 7:20, Titans at Chiefs. This line is it's sort of crazy to me. The Chiefs are 12.5-point home favorites against the Titans, who, I mean, they keep winning, right? They're doing something right. Aren't they 7-1 or something? They're 5-2. Okay, a little carry, but they've won 5 straight games. That's what it is, and they're probably going to run away with the AFC South. Look, obviously the Chiefs are a better football team, but 12.5 seems a little much to me. I'm going to take the Titans to cover, even if the Chiefs end up winning by like 10 points. So I will take the Titans. All right, we're out of here. Appreciate everybody listening, watching on YouTube. On YouTube, please hit subscribe. Please hit that like button. Also hit the notification button so you know when we go live after the games, or if we have any surprise emergency episodes like we had yesterday, 2 days ago. I can't even keep track of my days. It's been a long week. Really, thank you to everybody for all the support all week long with the trade deadline. Downloads are crazy. People are watching. People are engaged. Appreciate all the support. And I know Adam Jahns feels the same exact way. If you're listening to the podcast way, please rate and review the pod. As I like to say, go tell a friend. Go tell one of your Bears friends. Say, hey, if you're not listening to Hoge and Jahns, you're doing it wrong. Send them a link. Hopefully they'll jump on board with us, and we appreciate that. Obviousshirts.com is where you get the merch. We're out of here. We'll be back Sunday after the game. Maybe it'll be a Bears win. Either way, I think it'll be a fun, entertaining football game. So we'll talk to you post-game Sunday. See ya.